Welcome back. So today's the day I'm gonna finally finish installing the coilovers. I've got one installed yesterday. I'm gonna show you how to put the other one in, kind of do a quick review. This is gonna be the first review of the Viking Crusaders. I did talk to them today, and I've talked to Trick Chassis about these and the anti-roll bar. But let me kind of show you, get the car apart, because as you can tell, there's still a shock and spring in this side, and that side's out. So I went ahead and did a couple extra steps, but you see me take my old shock, old spring, ignore this. There's a reason it's there. It doesn't need to be there anymore, but it's fine. So the kit I bought was the direct bolt-in coilover kit from Trick Chassis. They've been really nice. I got a hold of them yesterday and was talking to them about the coilovers, because I had a couple questions myself, because I'm not used to this style coilover. But I bought the brackets right here that mount into the factory spots. Very simple. You honestly would have a hard time really messing this up, because it can only go in really one way. But you take your bolt out of your trailing arm, put it in here where your shock used to go. There's a bolt for it, goes in there. Pretty simple. Now the fun part is getting these bolts up in the top on my car. There's reasons for it, but unfortunately I can't fix it at this point. But as you can see, you got your two upper shock bolts. You got your spot at the bottom. It goes in here and it'll bolt straight in. Now I don't have any real preload on this spring yet, so I will have to measure the other spring and kind of try to set the preload, and then we will sit this car on blocks and try to get the rod height that I want, and then go from there. But let me get the top bolted in, and then I'll show you how the bottom bolts. It's very simple. So I got the top bolted in. Really, it shouldn't take you guys that long. The reason mine's so bad is because my body has been lowered on my frame. I built it that way and it was a bad mistake, but it's kind of late to change it now. So now that the upper coilover is mounted, all we gotta do is mount it into the lower part. So the good thing about this kit is it comes with every bolt that's all graded. Now, it makes it a lot easier because I'm on a rack. I know some of you guys are not going to be on a rack. I understand that. But you can still do this in your driveway just like the rest of us, like we all used to. You just lift it up. Slide it in. Now guys, y'all gonna notice I slide all my bolts in backwards. Maybe it doesn't matter. Some of you guys are gonna probably say it doesn't matter. It's a personal thing. So it's up to you guys, whatever you wanna do. I do it because racing, we were always taught to slide bolts in backwards, because if the nut was to back off, it would hopefully help keep the bolt in it, even if the nut was to slide off on the front side if you were to have it the other way. So it's just personal preference, but I do it on all mine. The only bolts that this kit does not come with is your trailing arm bolts. Both of mine might have to be just a hair longer, and I also want to get some locking nuts, but as long as your bolts are relatively long, I mean, this plate's pretty thick, but it's not too terribly thick. I really like this kit. It's all powder coated. It looks really good. It's probably one of the nicest things I have on the car. But let me get this finished bolted in, and then we'll jack the coil up real quick. So, I know some of you guys don't mess with coilovers, but it's pretty simple. These are double adjustable. I know that's more advanced than most people will ever need in their life, but for what I'm doing, I need it. But you got your rebound, your compression. It's got different settings. And to adjust your ride height, this is your jam nut basically. It jams down in there. I bought the spanner wrenches from Viking, or from Trick Performance at the same time. And basically you take the hook onto your coilover and just twist it. Now right now, because there's no real preload, I can twist it by hand. And you want to put anti-seize on this, so before we fully seat anything, we're going to put anti-seize on it. And now basically what I'm going to do real quick is just kind of measure my other side and just kind of match them, get a rough estimate of where I need it. So I still got quite a bit to go. But once we do that, we'll try to sit it on the ground. That will not be today. So while I'm doing this, I'm gonna kind of explain some things to you guys. Some people don't know. And I'm not the best chassis guy in the world by any means. I just do the best I can. But you have a single adjustable and a double adjustable. I opted for the double. I went ahead and went all out, got the better. These are more specifically the Crusaders, designed for more race application. After talking to Viking today, I kind of figured that out. When I was at Nationals, this is kind of what they recommended. Now they've done some other things. I possibly should have went with their other one. Too late. I'm not changing it. But the Crusader is more their strictly race style stuff. And I can actually take these out and revalve this shock just by changing these. They have different ones that I can order if I needed to. That's really why I wanted them. I really like them for that reason. They also just came out and upgraded their medium one, which I think is what they call the Brawler, which is more of a street strip style coilover that they've really done well with. I did reviews, kind of looked up reviews on it. I possibly should have went with that, but I like the valving option in this better. So for a lot of you guys, I would really recommend their medium. Medium grade is what I'm going to call it. You got your straight race, then you got your street and strip, more style, and then you got more your street. Their Warrior is their base model. It's what they call their base model. It is more for you street guys that make good horsepower. Let me finish this and I'll move over and we'll finish talking about this here in a second. All right, let's get back to kind of what I was saying. So you got 3 classes from Viking. That's their Crusader, which is what I bought, which is more race. You got your Brawler, I think is what they call it, which is the middle class, which is more like a street and strip, the way I was explained it today. Then you got your Warrior, which is kind of, from what I've seen, the lower horsepower. I say lower horsepower, but I'm talking 500, 600, 700 is what a lot of these guys are running on them, which is more of like a strip or a street style coilover. So what they told me today is when I take this to the strip, I told him it was for drag week, and he's like, you know, I might have to back the shocks completely off, both rebound and compression. No big deal. We're also gonna put a spring spacer in it, but that's more for the weight of the trailer. They said that was fine. But basically I could break a valve. It's rough on the shocks. Now guys do this every day. They drive on the Crusaders, they said, and they haven't had a problem. These things are, from what I was told by the guy at Viking, their shocks are almost indestructible, and truthfully I believe it from what I've seen in the reviews. I do want to thank Viking for calling me back. I sent him a message, I think on Christmas, and was like, hey, when you all get time, can you call me? I had questions. I had talked to Trick Performance at that point. Super nice guys over there, and they kind of helped me with the anti-roll bar and stuff, so we're gonna finish that up next. But talking to the guy at Viking, he was super nice. He had raced circle track before also, so it was kind of cool to talk to somebody that kind of knows where I'm coming from and kind of going in a different world. So he was very helpful. I do want you to know I'm not sponsored by anybody besides myself. So I don't get nothing from any of these companies. So if I like a company, I'm telling you from what my experience, and hopefully you have the same experience. There's a couple other companies I won't mention that I've had really bad experiences with. Even talking to them at shows was just terrible. Now I don't have nothing against QA1, but I've had some QA1 stuff and I wasn't exactly happy with it. I do like their product though. I used it in circle track. I just like Viking more for now from the reviews I've seen. And for the customer service that I've received. The problem I seem to see at a lot of these big shows, and we were talking about it at PRI, me, Joe, and Steve, is a lot of these people just kind of ignore us. And it's something that a lot of these companies need to realize that, okay, we might not dress the fanciest and we might not look like we have the money, but surprisingly we buy a lot of stuff. Not just me, but Steve and everybody else, and they'll just ignore us completely and try to go to a little bit older gentleman or something. And that's fine, I understand, but if I'm there first, you know, it's just a company thing, and I think that needs to be kind of fixed through all of the industry. But we'll get more into that another day. But Viking is, every time I've walked up to them, they talk to me. 2 years in a row at Street Rod National, so I really wanted to give them a try, and so far I'm very pleased with what it seems like their product. I'm happy with it. I've got QA1s sitting on the shelf still, but this is what I'll be running. Besides that, guys, there's not a whole lot. We're gonna get the anti-roll bar in, and then it's gonna go to Steve's for the intercooler. We'll be over there for that. Unfortunately, Steve's having some issues with the distributor for the Turbo Fox body, so it kind of sucks. Parts are still getting hard to find, but that's okay because we got other cars to work on and film. There possibly might be another kart coming out next year. We'll see how Saturday and everything else goes. And it will be a GSXR 600 engine, liquid cooled. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what Steve's up to. He has a plan, and I try to stick with his plans because they're always fun. But guys, I do want to tell you, if anybody would like to sponsor, I would happily accept. I still need to get a roll cage in the car, and unfortunately I just don't have the money right now. So I'm kind of stuck at this point. I need to get the suspension done and we'll do some testing, but I guess the cage is going to have to wait. But guys, I appreciate it. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, I do want to thank Viking for actually calling me like 2 days after Christmas and talking to me for a while and explaining different things to me. And it was just nice to actually have a company that seemed to care. But we'll get things back together. We got a few things to finish up on the car before it goes to Steve's, and then we should be able to test it real soon and try to get the suspension set the way it needs to be to actually launch the car right. So guys, I appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you later.